You guys ready to take more financial tips from a guy wearing no clothes? You're in the right spot. Why are zero day to expiration options so appealing? Well, it kind of boils down to gamma, and a lot of you might hear the word gamma and kind of puke in your mouth a little bit because you gives a shit about gamma. Well, you should, especially if you're trading zero day to expiration options or want to know the appeal of them, or want to know why people avoid zero day to expiration options. Gamma represents how much delta changes given a 1 point move in the underlying, and that changes over time. If you have like 3 months until expiration, gamma is going to be pretty small. A 1 point move is going to change delta just a little bit. Okay, so if you're very far out of the money, you might have a 0.2 delta. You have a 1 point move, it might be a 0.21 delta, right? But at expiration, gamma becomes super high at the money. Everywhere else, it's basically zero. Because if you think about it, at expiration, on expiration day, when you're trading a zero day to expiration option, if it's out of the money, your delta is going to be basically zero at close. Because if you're 5 points out of the money, and then you move 4 points out of the money, who gives a shit? You're still out of the money. All the extrinsic value is gone. All the time of value is gone. It's still going to be worth $0 at close. So who gives a shit if it's out of the money by 5 points, 10 points, 20 points, 4 points, 3 points? It doesn't matter. At expiration, it's going to be worth nothing. And so delta is going to be very low. And then same with in the money. Gamma is going to be very low because delta is very constant in the money as well, because it's going to be basically a totally intrinsic value. If you're 10 points in the money, you're going to have $1,000 worth of intrinsic value. If you're 5 points in the money, you're going to have 500. If you go from 5 points in the money to 6 points, you're going to make an extra $100 of intrinsic value. Okay, this is because extrinsic value is now such a small portion of the option that it's not being factored in. So if you're far out of the money, extrinsic value is almost gone. Usually when you get closer to at the money, extrinsic value grows, but if it's like 0 days to expiration, there's barely any extrinsic value across the entire options chain. So it's not going to grow by very much, so delta is going to be very small, and changes to delta is going to be very small, so gamma is going to be very small. When you're deep in the money, or just in the money at all, on 0 days expiration, gamma is also going to be very low because there's very little extrinsic value. So any change in the underlying is just going to change intrinsic value by 1 point per point in the move in the underlying. It's not going to change extrinsic value very much. So changes to extrinsic value based on where you are in the underlying is basically what changes your delta, which means it's what gamma is, essentially. Jesus Christ, this is not the most contrived video of all time. Anyway, for those of you who haven't clicked off yet, why am I belittling myself? Come on, it's pathetic. So when people trade 0 day to expiration options, the benefit is you could buy like 5 minutes before close, you can buy an out of the money option for like a penny, right? It has 1 penny of extrinsic value because it has yet to expire. So there's a little bit of time value left. And if it flips 1 point in the money, that 1 penny goes up to $100. So all of a sudden, around at the money, you're going to have a ton of leverage. And that's the appeal of it. Is if you buy 100 puts for 1 penny each, and then all of a sudden they flick 1 point in the money, you're making you're making a shitload of money. So that's why people trade 0 day to expiration options. And that's what people mean by gamma risk, is when you're close to expiration, gamma is extremely, extremely high around at the money. So when you have a lot of money, when you might have $500 worth of intrinsic value in your option and you're like set to go, but it's right up against expiration, if things start moving against you, that disappears really fast because there's no extrinsic value cushion that is cushioning the value of your option. So if you want to like make a lot of money, yeah, buy like an out of the money option and watch it flip in the money. But you're also just straight up gambling because it's a total coin toss on whether or not it's actually going to end up in the money. But that's where you see people make tons of money. It's on 0 day expiration options on super down days when they buy puts, or super up days, but usually down days are more down than the up days are, right? So they buy puts for like a penny each, buy a bunch of them, and then SPY tanks 3% all of a sudden, and they all move in the money. And what goes from basically zero value, because everyone's expecting those options to expire worthless, all of a sudden has a ton of intrinsic value, and you make bank. So that's the appeal of them. Am I suggesting you trade them? Absolutely fucking not, because they're extremely risky. Okay, if you watch, you can literally watch. Go look at your brokerage, whatever brokerage you're using. Look at out of the money options and watch in the final couple hours or whatever. Watch how they decay to zero super fast. So when you buy like a 0-day to expiration option like 4 hours before close, and you're like waiting for it to get in the money so it starts building intrinsic value, if it doesn't, you're gonna watch that extrinsic value just drop to zero lightning fast. Because remember, extrinsic value at 45 days to expiration increases exponentially. So if you're out of the money, the option's gonna start tanking wicked fast. Imagine, and that's at 45 days until expiration. Imagine at like 1 day, less than a day till expiration, how fast your option decays to zero if it's out of the money, and how large a percentage theta is of the value of your option. So yeah, the appeal of 0-day to expiration options is basically leverage, as it always is, because you can turn a penny into $100 really fast if things go in your favor. But it's also really easy just to watch your option degrade to zero, like in the matter of minutes. So yeah, there you go. A little tidbit, because everyone's trading 0 days to expiration options, particularly puts on SPY, because people think it's Armageddon. But then you have days like today where it's slightly green and people buy those put options and they watch them degrade to zero. Do it. Go watch it on your brokerage. It's kind of fun to watch because you know someone bought that and you can kind of laugh at their misery. Does that make me a bad person? Maybe. I'm at my parents' house because I have encephalitis. I'm naked. And here's their view. Again, because people keep commenting, whoa, hell of a view, dude. It is quite the view. Unfortunately, my brain is perceiving it as like a hellish landscape, which is a bit unfortunate because my neurons are inflamed. But if I were normal, it'd look beautiful. Better than looking at a concrete wall, I guess. All right, if you guys want free stocks, there's free stocks in the description. If you want to hear my encephalitis story so you don't think I'm just making up shit, you can see that in the description as well. I'm fucking dying. The Solu-Medrol from my last IV infusions have worn off. So, I'm dead. Okay, well, since I'm not editing this, I should probably just shut up. I love each and every one of you. Be careful. If you want to hedge your portfolio, buy out of the money SPY puts, do bear credit spreads, bear put spreads, buy bonds, buy calls on VIX. In case there's a sudden drop, a huge, we're kind of doing the slow burn down. If there's a huge drop, all of a sudden VIX will spike up. It's a good hedge. Just view the money you put into those as insurance, the money that's gone. When you pay for insurance, that money disappears until you need it. When SPY tanks by 6 or 7%, and then all of a sudden your VIX calls are worth a ton of money. So you can do those things, or you can just buy the dip. Okay, low stress. Let's try to keep stress low. That's optimal in life. What I've learned is through this whole like brain melting experience is, number one, money doesn't fucking matter except for when you need it desperately. But my point is, health is more important, okay? And being stressed out all the time is not worth it. So whatever you can do to keep the stress down is good. If that means just buying the dip, good. If it means just waiting, good. If it means buying VIX calls to hedge against a huge downturn, fine. If it means buying a SPY out of put to hedge against a downturn, fine. If it means you want to hedge in any other way, sell covered calls, that's fine. Allocate to bonds, that's fine. Whatever brings the stress down, okay? And most of all, just be grateful if you're healthy. That is key. My health has been stripped from me, and it fucking sucks. It sucks. Okay, I'm done. Bye.